All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, the honor to the apostles, and that was the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. I'm the brother Aina from GMS Dallas, and I got the elder Yatazak here as well. And
Shalom.
we're doing a continuation of the book of Second Esdras. Okay, today we're on chapter 9, the second half of chapter 9. We left off at, I want to say, we read up until verse 26, but I'm gonna start back up at verse 24. All right, and Lord willing, we continue through the rest of the chapter. Chapters 7, 8, and 9 were all pretty much one single dialogue, or what's dialogue? Yeah, not a monologue. A dialogue was two people. A dialogue between Ezra and the angel Uriel. And so at the end of at the verse 24, okay, that was pretty much the end of that conversation. Verse 25, right, was pretty much the end of that conversation. So I'll read verse 23, and then we'll go from there. All right. This is Second Esdras chapter 9 and verse 23. And this is the angel Uriel speaking. It says, "Nevertheless, if thou wilt cease yet 7 days more," because Ezra was fasting for a period of a couple of weeks. He would fast 7 days, and then the angel of the Lord would come to him, and he fast 7 more days, and the angel of the Lord would come again. Right. So now the angel is telling him to fast again or cease, right? Meaning to abstain. Says, "But thou shalt not fast in them, but go into a field of flowers where no house is builded, and eat only the flowers of the field." So, yeah, the area that he was told to go into basically, was supposed to be like a wilderness area, right? And it says, "Taste no flesh, drink no wine, but eat flowers only." Right. So he was out there on a fast. And if you've ever been, as a side note, if you've ever been in nature on a fast, I've never fasted for 2 weeks, of course, but even if you go like, you go on a fast, like you start fasting, that morning or like that night, and then the next day you go out, against, around some nature, like you go to like a park where there's like no humans and you just around like nature, it's you get kind of in touch, get back in touch, what I'm saying, with, what I mean, detach from human bullshit and get more in touch with the Lord's creation, you know. You were saying something, Zaquan?
Nah, my laptop tripping. I was complaining about that. We can go ahead and move on.
Okay.
Fuck this laptop.
Con. So continuing on here, right. So he was commanded basically to not eat of any of the of anything other than some flowers, right? And ultimately continue to afflict himself. Okay, it says, "And pray unto the highest continually, then will I come and talk with thee." So I went my way into the field, which is called Ardath, like as he commanded me. And I got this precept here. Because Daniel did. We know about. I think that's Daniel 1. Talk about the Daniel fast, right? Basically where they only ate what's the word that you pulse?
Pulse.
Pulse, which is like vegetables and grains and what I mean, things that were not meat. But also when you get Daniel 10 and verses 2 and 3, all right, it talks about Daniel receiving a vision, right? And basically, I'll read verse 2. It says, "In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread." I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine into my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. So even Daniel, not eating pleasant bread, well, I would imagine, leavened bread. You know what I'm saying? He didn't eat no meat, he didn't drink no wine, he was probably just drinking water, what I'm saying, and just eating, the bare minimum, what I'm saying? Because he was mourning. But yeah, fasting is basically a form of well, that's what it is, afflicting your soul. That's why it says that afflicting your souls during the Day of Atonement. That's what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Not drinking or eating anything, because you are denying your flesh, right? And so it says back in Second Ezra 9, in the middle of 26, it says, and there I sat among the flowers and did eat of the herbs of the field, and the meat of the same satisfied me, right? So again, it wasn't meat, physical, you know, uh, meat like animal meat. It was food from the herbs of the field, right? It says, verse 27, after 7 days I sat upon the grass, and my heart was vexed within me like as before. Okay, so he fulfilled the period of time of 7 days, all right, of fasting, and he was still, this is back to back fast, like, what I'm saying, he was already fasting 2 weeks before. Now he was this is basically that third week. But the third week he ate of the grass of the field. All right. It says, and or the herbs, specifically the herbs of the field. It says, and I opened my mouth and began to talk before the Most High and said, O Lord, thou that showest thyself unto us, um, thou wast showed unto our fathers in the wilderness, in a place where no man treadeth, in a barren place, when they came out of Egypt. Right? And he's going over. This is another. How Ezra. You'll see the pattern. He does this. Like he'll be vexing, and he'll speak truth before the Most High, and basically, and that's the spirit, man. Like when you actually call upon the Most High, He answers. You know, when you call unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua, He answers, and you remind Him of the promises that He made. He'll answer, man. You know, but it says, and thou spakest, saying, Hear me, O Israel, and mark my words, thou seed of Jacob. For behold, I sow my law in you, and it shall bring forth, and it shall bring fruit in you, and ye shall be honored in it forever. Yeah, because when you go to the law, let's go to real quick, is Exodus 19. Okay. Let's see here. Hold on, let me find. Okay, verse 5. I'll start at verse 5. Verse 4. It says, "Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians." All right, this is the Lord speaking to Israel through Moses, right? It says, "Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you on eagle's wings, and brought you up unto myself." Now, did they literally fly out of Egypt on wings of giant eagles? No. Okay, it's a metaphor. Okay, of how they were brought out swiftly and effortlessly. Okay, brought out of the land of Egypt. Okay, meaning we didn't have to go to war against the Egyptians to fight our way out. Like the Lord pretty much just destroyed Egypt with the plagues, and laid out the red carpet for us to escape. Right? It says, verse 5, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me, above all people, for all the earth is mine. Okay. All right. And let's see here. And right, it says, and you shall be a and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. Okay, these are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, right? So when you drop down, the point is in verse 8 here, right? Moses did that. It says, and all the people answered together and said, all that Yahweh hath spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord. So again, this was a covenant, you know what I mean? We know about the blood covenant, right? That we made with the Lord. So Ezra is recounting that, okay? And basically, when we received the law, matter of fact, let me go back more into it. The next chapter, right? It talks about the 10 Commandments, right? So let me see here. You know, the Lord, yeah, in chapter 20, right? The 10 Commandments, and then it was reminded of us, right, in Deuteronomy before we were after the 40 years in the wilderness when we was about to enter into the land. Finally, the 10 Commandments were repeated. Okay, again, right? All right, so you know all these commandments, and of course all the other details of the law contained in Exodus and Leviticus as well as Deuteronomy. All right, and so when you go back here, okay, it says, let me see, what verse was I at here? Verse 31, right? It says, for behold, I sow my law in you, and it shall bring forth fruit in you. Okay, now up until this point, right now we haven't brought forth the full potential of the fruit, okay? Because we're in these corruptible bodies, okay? So this hasn't this hasn't fully transpired yet. All right. Okay. Basically, right now we're in these corruptible bodies. Okay. So, like the book of First Corinthians, the 15th chapter talks about. All right. Matter of fact, let me get it. Incorruptible. If I can spell it right. Spell check. Spell check. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Yep, this is the one here, and there's other ones, but we'll get this one. All right. Uh, 1 Corinthians 15 and 52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Okay, that change is going to be from the corruptible, in verse, that corruptible to that incorruptible. Okay, being honored in the law. You know what I mean? Because there's was a scripture in Romans where it talks about the law basically condemning us. You know what I'm saying? Just because basically just the simple fact that we're in the flesh, the law, the law condemns us, man. Let me see. Let's see if something pull up here. Secondary. Or can I do like can I do no, I thought it was a way I could look up part of it. Or maybe condemnation or something like that. Let me see. Let's see here. I'll look it up another way. I'll get back to it. All right. Let me continue on here in 2 Ezra 9 and 32. It says, but our fathers, which received the law, kept it not, and observed not thy ordinances, and though the fruit of thy law did not perish, what's the fruit of the fruit of thy law? Okay, the fruit of thy law did not perish, neither could it, for it was thine. Okay, basically like the law itself cannot perish. All right, it's never going to perish. Okay,
Right.
righteousness is never going to perish. Okay, all right. So let me if you want to speak real quick on that, Zaquan, let me search for this scripture real quick.
Yeah, I would say the law is perfect. You know what I'm saying? The deal with the law is that we couldn't keep it because we in the flesh. You see? But just cause we died in this flesh don't mean the law did. You see? Because the law is so important that when our bodies are changed and we given those new incorruptible bodies, it's gonna have the law programmed in it. You know what I'm saying? So everybody out there that's thinking that the law was done away with and we don't have to do this. No, we don't have to sacrifice no more because Yahweh Shai himself was that final sacrifice. You see, and that blood covered our sins. But at the same time, they don't give you the go ahead to do what you want to do. No, that's what I'm saying. It's for you to come back into the fold, not for you to get worse.
Right. Salakia, I'm just looking here. Okay, here we go. Romans 8. Let's see, Romans 8. What the hell just happened? Hold on. It like created a new tab. Okay, here we go. Romans 8. And I'll start at verse 1. It says, therefore, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Mashiach Yahushai, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. For the law of the spirit of life in Mashiach Yahushai hath made me free from the law of sin and death. And I believe we looked up this word law a couple of weeks ago. That word nomos. Um, it's the law in the traditional sense of what we think about, but also like uh like any rule, like for example, like the law or the rule of the wages of sin are death. Like that's a rule. Like if you sin, like if you transgress the law, you're gonna die. You know, the thing, anything established, uh, okay, anything received by usage, a custom, a law, a command, right? So the law, going back here, it says, the law of the spirit of life, okay, and Mashiach Yahushai made me free from the law of sin and death, okay, which the rule of if you transgress the law, okay, you're gonna die. That's gonna be basically null and void once um, we receive those new bodies, right? And it says, verse 3, here's the point, for what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, okay, because the law being weak through the flesh, meaning like our flesh is the thing that is corruptible. So when you look at it, you know, there's no way that we can fulfill the law in its totality in these bodies, right? But Yahushua did it, right? And so through what Yahushua did, we're going to be able to attain, the heart of flesh, okay, the incorruptible, immortal
I'll say
body.
just like his flesh was made subject to vanity, now it's made subject to righteousness when we get changed. You see?
Hmm.
So just like we was made subject to vanity and it was impossible for us to be righteous, it's gonna be flipped. It's gonna be no way that we can go off because of that changed body. And a part of that new body is to have the laws put in you.
Hmm. I'm gonna read it in the NLT. I'm gonna read this in the NLT.
Gone.
Uh, Romans 8:3, the law of Moses, and this is in the NLT. Okay, it says, the law of Moses was unable to save us because of the weakness of our sinful nature. Yeah, so it wasn't like the law, like, had a flaw in it or something. Like, no, we are the defect in the equation. So that's the reason why
Yep.
we
The
couldn't.
creature was made subject to vanity.
That's it, right? It says, so the Most High did what the law could not do. Okay, He sent His own Son in a body like the bodies we sinners have, and in that body, uh, the Most High declared an end to sin's control over us by giving us His Son as a sacrifice for our sins. You see, because the law can't be what's the word, like taken back, like you know what I'm saying, like the law's still there. Okay, but we just didn't have a way to fulfill or like live in the law and thrive in the law the way that we were created to do. Okay, because of the sinful nature of our flesh. Okay, and so it says he did this so that the just requirement of the law would be fully satisfied for us. Yahushua is the one who satisfied that requirement, right? It says, who no longer follow our sinful nature, but instead follow the Spirit. Okay, so now hopefully that brings a little bit more insight, right? On verse 32 back in 2nd Esdras 9, where it says, but our fathers which received the law kept it not, okay, and observed that not thy ordinances. Why? Because they were in those what does it say? The sinful, we was in the, the flesh was sinful, we're in that flesh with sinful nature. Okay, the weakness of our sinful nature. Okay. It says, and though the fruit of thy law did not perish, neither could it, for it was thine, yet they that received it perished, right? The Holy Spirit cannot perish, right? Wisdom and knowledge and understanding cannot perish, but we perish, right? They that received it perished because they kept not the thing that was sown in them. Verse 34, and lo, it is a custom when the ground, excuse me, it is a custom when the ground hath received seed, or the sea, a ship, or any vessel, meat or drink, um, that being perished wherein it was sown or cast into, that thing also which was sown or cast therein or received doeth perish and remaineth not with us, but but with us it hath not happened so. Yeah, basically, this custom here, okay, of like even when you go into the law, right? Like when you go into the law, there's this part where it talks about like if a house has like a mold or like some type of defect where it's like just like this area of the house is just like it won't stop growing mold. You're supposed to cut it out. Okay, you're supposed to cut it out, get rid of it, and then replaster it and put it, put good wall up there. And if it continues to persist, you're just supposed to tear the whole house down. Okay, if something perishes, okay, from a particular vessel or whatever the case is, just basically the entire thing is deemed, defective. Okay, but the law, even though we failed to, live up to the measure of the righteousness of the law still stands, right?
Mhm.
So we still, we still here. Okay, the law's still here, but we in this what's that dude? What's that black? What's that Jake? That dude, amazing. The name of his a fallen state. What's that dude name?
Oh
Uh,
shit.
we're in a fallen state. The dude to be saying amazing. The name of his podcast
Man,
is
I know who you talking about. I can't think of his name though.
yeah. Fallen State. Oh, I gotta look that dude up. Fallen State
Yeah.
podcast. uh, what's that dude's name, man? Yeah, what's this dude right here? Fallen State. Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We in the fallen state.
That dude be on one, boy.
Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's where we at. We in the fallen state. Okay. But we still here, like you said earlier, made subject unto vanity, right? Now verse 36, it says, for we that have received that the law perished by sin, and our heart also received it. Notwithstanding, the law perisheth not, but remaineth in its force. Like there's no slackness on the law, like the Lord see, like the law wasn't changed just because we can't get it right. You know what I'm saying? The law wasn't, changed just because, nobody was able to adhere to it 100%. Okay. It's just as strong, you know, back, today as it was back then. Aside from now, at this time, it's before Yahushua came on the scene. Now, of course, Yahushua is that sacrifice, and we have grace now. But still, even at this time, from when it was received all the way up until this time, during the Babylonian exile, nothing was changed or added to it at all, right? And so, and Yahushua wasn't on the scene, so like the temple being destroyed, the Ark of the Covenant being gone, it was like no hope. You know what I'm saying? Like they were like, "Yo, like we're cooked," right? And verse 38, excuse me, it says, "And when I spake these things in my heart, I looked back with mine eyes, and upon the right side I saw a woman." Okay, so at this point, right? Because he pretty much, Ezra said his piece. Ezra didn't realize that at this point he was already in a trance. He didn't even realize it, you know. So everything you see from verse 38 going all the way down to the end of the chapter, which this chapter kind of cuts off in the middle of the conversation and is continued in chapter 10. But we're gonna read, here, right? In verse 38, it says, "And when I spake these things in my heart, I looked back with mine eyes, and upon the right side I saw a woman." Okay, so this is Ezra like basically seeing like real, like he's seeing it. You know how like you have a dream, or you have a, I mean, I have never fallen into like a trance while being awake, but like how John the Revelator, he saw the physical representation of things that were a lot of them had to be broken down to him, right? Like the woman, for example, on the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Like he saw an actual woman on an actual beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and it had to be explain what it meant, right? Um, and so this is one of those things. He actually saw a woman, right? It says in the middle of verse 38, "And behold, she mourned and wept with a loud voice, and was much grieved in heart, and her clothes were rent, and she had ashes upon her head." Okay, because ashes represent, ashes on your head represent what's it called, mourning.
Morning.
Yeah, and when a woman's weeping with a loud voice, you know all that stuff, like, oh, even when you go to First Samuel, all right, First Samuel, I think is it might be chapter 1, when Hannah was she was approached by Eli. Let me see, right? But she was praying. She wasn't even, let me see. She wasn't even okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah, she prayed a prayer. This is First Samuel 1, because basically a woman, see, this is the thing. In the ancient world, a woman's main goal in life was to bear a child, right? Like who was that said bear me a child or I'll die? Who was that said
Oh,
that?
that was it Rachel or Leah? It was Leah or Rachel. Yeah, because
Yeah,
he loved Leah more than Rachel, or the other way around. Yeah, because
yep,
Rachel, I think Rachel was popping out babies, but Leah was barren at the time, and she was telling Jacob, like, "Nigga, if I don't have no baby, I'm gonna die." He was like, "Well, what you want me to do?
right,
I'm doing
right,
everything I can. I'm
right,
trying my best.
right. Yeah. Well, I
It's up
know
to the
Leah.
Lord if you gonna have a baby or not."
Yeah. Okay, hold on, let me see. I know, I don't know, it's gonna come up a billion times. Um, I know that Leah had a baby first. Let me see.
Yeah, because Rachel was the one he was working for first,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was giving Leah and her he was giving Leah first because she was older.
Okay, here we go. Genesis 30. Yeah, yeah, here we go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is Genesis 30 and 1. It says, I think in 29, I think in 29 it talks about let me see. Scroll down. Yeah. In 29, Leah started having babies. uh Genesis 29 and 31. Because he had Leah and Rachel. It says when Yahweh saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. See? So and then she had all the sons. She had Reuben, Simeon, okay, and who was the third one? Levi and Judah. So she had 4 children before Rachel had any. So Rachel was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's at least 4 years right there of watching her sister have children, and Rachel's like, what the hell going on, right? So and when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children or else I die.
Man.
So that's how serious it was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and now women be getting abortions and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Man. I'm talking about proud about it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had 3 abortions. Like, huh?
Damn it, man.
You know what I'm saying? But back then it wasn't the case. And I was going to this here in 1 Samuel 1 and 9, just to get the understanding of the customs of our women and mindset they had towards childbirth. So Hannah, 1 Samuel 1 and 9. So Hannah rose up after they had eaten, because this was another woman that had what was the word? A rival wife. Or that was a rival wife, I should say, right? Meaning a husband, a woman that has more than one wife. That means, okay, it's called a rival wife. Matter of fact,
that's what I'm saying. That was this damn devil, man. This damn devil. That's what I'm saying. It's everybody on the planet know that it's more women than men. Like, what the fuck you want us to do? They say it's 9 to 11 women to 1 man across the planet. But a bitch talking about mine. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's your husband, but it's somebody else's husband too. It is what it is.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. The Lord can fuck me up way worse than a woman can. So, we'll say it's lawful but not expedient. But god damn, man, you got these women that want to. That's what I'm saying. Like, fuck the ministry. That's my man. No, fuck you.
Right.
Like, stop with the shit. Like, I get it. We gonna have trouble in the flesh and all that. But just like you can say, yeah, complain, we can say, shut the fuck up. Man. Shut the fuck up. Damn it, man. Go ahead.
Yep. So.
Yeah. Just like you can complain, we can say, shut up. That's enough.
Yep.
Shit.
Facts. Yep. It says a rival wife.
That should be them 2 words should not go together. Those 2 words not gonna be synonymous in the kingdom. A rival wife, what's that? No, the reason why the Lord said be fruitful and multiply so his will can be fulfilled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, they think that just because we're in the kingdom, it's just gonna be one big ass orgy. No. Just because you're getting hit from the back on this side don't mean it's gonna be a different world. Yeah, you talk about my man, this is all this shit you got to say. That's what I'm saying. Would have been plenty nuts bust on your back and you know it ain't. Stop. Or not. Shit don't make no sense. Well, I said we're too close to the end of the world. Go ahead.
Yeah, a rival wife. Okay. A female Tazarar. Man, that's heavy. Okay. I was just looking up the Hebrew word for it, but let's get this real quick. Rival wife, Tazarah is the Hebrew word there, refers to a co-wife in a polygamous marriage who shares the same husband. Okay, often creating a relationship marked by jealousy, tension, and direct competition for affection, resources, or status. it says the term frequently implies hostility, viewing the other woman as a competitor or foe rather than a partner. You know.
No, you the home wrecker. Yeah, the one that's causing a scene and throwing shit and acting a fool. You the home wrecker.
Oh yeah.
Shit. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. The numbers don't add up. Esau done
Yeah.
told you everybody got a soulmate when the numbers don't add up.
Facts.
11 women to one man, but you not a soulmate, bitch? Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what lets you know. That's what lets you know that the devil is being the devil.
Yep.
You done convince, I would say you done convince the world. You done convince the world that every man should be a one-woman man. So that's what I'm saying. If every man was a one-woman man, that's billions of women that's all by themselves.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how a lot of these women, a lot of these women, okay, like they've been around, you know what I'm saying? And then, they look up and then they mid to late 30s when shit starts sagging and wrinkling up, and they're wondering where their husband's at now that they want to settle down, you know?
Yeah,
But
you can't do what men do. I would say men can deal with multiple women, but women can't deal with multiple men. It's not
yeah.
set up like that. You know what I'm saying? And all the women that deal with multiple men, like that, you see that it has an effect on their spirit. Their spirits be
Mhm.
off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You taking in all that rod, all these different men. That's what I'm saying. They leave their spirit is left on you.
Yeah. Yeah, you got
You know what I'm
like
saying? That's a real thing.
kind. Yep. Like you
That's
ever
why I say
notice?
if a man got 10 women and ain't none of them dealing with nobody else, all 10 of them women know who the baby daddy is.
Kind.
You know what I'm saying? But if a woman got 10 men, what the fuck? One woman got 10 men, you don't know who the fuck baby that is. It's
Hey,
confusion.
yeah. Yeah. And really a woman with under 10 bodies is rare. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
yeah, they start over sexualizing the children in kindergarten now, man. You like, damn.
Yep. Kind.
But that's Esau's way of trying to make sure it ain't 144,000 virgins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everybody gonna be a freak. You got it.
Yeah, kind. You know? But anyway, what was I at? Okay, so let me go back to this first Samuel 1, because basically Hannah was barren, and when you read this account, and then Penina, I think, was the other wife. She was basically bragging her, right? Like in verse 6 to talk about her adversary also provoked her sore. That was talking about Penina, you know what I'm saying? Because she had X amount of children, you know what I'm saying? But the Lord shut up Hannah's womb. So Hannah was bitter. She prayed to the Lord and wept, right? And that was, ultimately the Lord ended up giving her Samuel, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, she prayed to the Lord, you know what I'm saying? Saying in verse 11, and she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and forget not thine handmaid, but will give unto thy handmaid a man child, then I will give unto him, then I will give him unto Yahweh all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. So she said, "Look, I'll commit him unto you, Lord. I'll make him a priest." You know what I'm saying? Hey, but check out. She specifically asked for a son.
Right.
She specifically asked for a son. Why she didn't ask for a daughter? She asked for a
Yeah, what I'm
son.
saying. That just goes to show you the firstborn son belongs to the Lord.
Con, con, right? So, uh, going back to this scripture here, that shows you how important bearing a child was. Because we was in what was that in Genesis 30, right? Okay, give me children.
Yeah.
Rachel, She was
Yep.
yoking him up like, yo, man, give me a son. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
When it got,
Jacob.
say when it bought some mandrakes and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, there was mandraked up, you know. But then it says in verse Genesis 30 and 2, and Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, see, this lets you know women their job, they can't see in the spiritual, like really, even when they try, like we're not making fun of women when we say this, like that's just not their forte. You know what I'm saying? Forte means strength, by the way. That's just not their strength. It's not their strong suit. So basically, Jacob had to snap her into a slim jim. He said, am I in the most high's stead, who hath withheld thee from the fruit of the womb? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
hello, I'm not the one that's preventing you from getting pregnant. He was leaving it in. He wasn't pulling out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It wasn't. It ain't up to him.
Right. And but check this out. All right. She said, and this is a modern woman would never allow for this, right? Verse 3. And she said, this is Rachel speaking, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees. Okay, like meaning like I'm gonna stand right there as she's being born, as the baby's being born, and it's gonna be my
Hmm.
baby, right? That I may also have children by her, right? So you know what I mean? So Jacob, yeah, so that was understood. Same thing with Sarah and Hagar, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? With Ishmael, you know. So yeah, man, this wasn't like see, this is Western. I'm sorry, this was what they say, Eastern or Oriental. The Oriental culture is different than Western culture.
Oh yeah.
Any-
I was see one time my old lady asked me about multiple wives and all that. I said, shit, I said if I'm gonna have another wife in this house, you gonna have to go get the bitch. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
putting in. I'm
Well,
not
because
putting in no effort.
yeah, because when you see how Jacob had substance,
Yeah.
like if your woman has an employee, think about it like this: your woman got a business to where she needs help running the business, or she runs your business, but she can't do it on her own. She helps run your business, so
Hmm.
she's an assistant. You know what I mean? Like that's basically like what a handmaid was. You know what I'm saying? But that's in a household that can sustain that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I, if I have a one bed or if I have a studio apartment that I'm paying, 1,100 a month for, and a fucking 2004 Honda Accord or whatever, I don't need handmaids and a smorgasbord because I
Right.
don't have to manage. That's lets us know that we're a slave. That lets you know you're a servant under Esau's shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the
Because
way
we
we
don't really
looking
have.
at it, that's what I'm saying. The way we looking at it in this flesh and having an understanding of the scriptures, if you got multiple wives nowadays, you're gonna have trouble in the flesh. You know what I'm
Hell yeah.
saying? Just imagine having three wives and y'all all under the same roof. It wasn't designed for that. Each woman had their own quarters. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But Jacob had three women in the same house, all of them on their period at the same time. It's just not feasible. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake got three wives, all of them down the hall from each other. Hell
Yeah.
no.
Three wives in a two-bedroom.
No. That's not smart. That's not smart. You wonder why this nigga ain't never had camp.
Oh shit! It looked cute on Instagram, but that shit's hella unpractical.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This flesh, I would say this flesh is too weak for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But side pieces, on the other hand, no, I'm just kidding.
You know what I'm
Um,
saying?
all right, so let's go back here to Second Ezra, verse 40. Okay, I'm sorry. Verse 39. It says, then let I my thoughts go that I was in, and turn me unto her. Ezra was he was like, damn, okay, I'm over here complaining, but this woman, she grieving harder than me, right? So it says verse 40. And I said unto her, wherefore weepest thou? Why art thou so grieved in thy mind? And she said unto me, Sir, let me alone. So Ezra trying to figure out, why she's so troubled. And the woman answering back, let me alone, that I may bewail myself and add unto my sorrow, for I am sore vexed in my mind and brought very low. And I meant to get this. I'll get it in a little bit. Um, oh yeah, I forgot about this one too. I'll get all these. There's only two of them that I forgot. Uh, continue on to verse 40, 40. Well, actually, let me address verse 41. Okay. I'm gonna just break it down from the get-go. This woman is a parable or a uh representation of Zion or Jerusalem. Okay, the city. Okay. Um, Now I'm gonna continue reading here. Okay. It says, and I said unto her, what aileth thee? Tell me. Now keep in mind, the city Jerusalem, and we say it all the time. Uh Jerusalem or in Israel is a people before it's a place. So the people in this that belong to the landmass of Israel, right? That were native to that area, I should say. Um, you know, they were the ones that were giving life to the area. Like even when you go into um what was it called? In Second Kings 17, when Israel was taken out of the land, all right, and replaced with heathens by the Assyrians, like the land started attacking it, you know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
ultimately, Israel wasn't in the land. That's why even right now, the land of Israel right now is destitute, like as far as like the actual, like there's barely, it looks like they basically look like a desert. It's, everything's dried up over there. You know what I'm saying? It used to be just green pastures and green everywhere, but now it's just all dried up, right? So it says, verse 41, and she said unto me, Sir, let me alone, that I may bewail myself and add unto my sorrow, for I am sore vexed in my mind and brought very low. And I said unto her, what aileth thee? Tell me. She said unto me, I, thy servant, have been barren and had no child, though I had an husband 30 years. Okay. And this conversation, again, because this chapter is almost over, and we're going to stop at the end of this chapter. But the breakdown of this chapter is really in chapter 10. Once this conversation continues, chapter 10 is going to continue in chapter 10, and it's going to end in that chapter. And then after that, the angel is going to return back, and show himself to Ezra and going to break this down. But we're going to address it now. Again, the woman represents Zion, Jerusalem specifically. Okay, being when it says thy servant have been barren and had no child, though I had an husband 30 years. Okay, um, basically, it says, well, let me continue reading. It says, in those 30 years, I did nothing else day and night and every hour, but make my prayer unto the highest. Right. So when you go into I can't remember what chapter that was. What chapter was that when David took Jerusalem? It was in Second Samuel. Let me see. David takes Jerusalem from the Jebusites. What chapter is that? Second Samuel 5. Let me go to that real quick. Uh Second Samuel 5. Let's see where we're at on the time. Are we good? Second Samuel 5. Okay. All right, so Second Samuel 5. Okay, and verse 8, David said, whosoever can take the Jebusites is going to be the chief and captain. Okay. And hold on, did I miss it? Let me see here. Did he take it in this chapter? Hold on, let me see. David took a more
What
concubine.
chapter you in?
I'm in chapter 5, 2 Samuel 5. Hold on, let me see here.
I thought that's where it was at.
Yeah, it is. Okay, hold on. I think I skipped it. I went too far
Yeah,
down. Let me
you
go back.
know, on chapter and verse, I be fuzzy. I can quote it, but yeah.
No. This is it right here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. This is also in Chronicles. All right. This is second Samuel 5 and 6. It says, I'm gonna read this in the NLT just to get it better. Second Samuel 5 and 6 in the NLT. David then led his men to Jerusalem to fight against the Jebusites, the original inhabitants of the land who were living there. The Jebusites taunted David, saying, "You'll never get in here. Even the blind and the lame could keep you out," because Jerusalem was set on a hill. Even still, like even today, the actual city, Jerusalem, is set on an elevated like plateau, basically. So when you have the high ground, uh, it's easy to defend. You know what I'm saying, from a high ground. That's why even cities, they would have walls around them and all that stuff. So imagine you got an elevated city, and then on top, and then surround the city is walls. So it's like you ain't getting in, bro. Like you're gonna get shot down by arrows. Like you're not
Right.
getting in. You know. And so they were like, man, we don't even got to. The Jebusites were like, man, like they were like, man, we don't even got to do shit. Like you're not even gonna be able to. You're not even gonna be able to take us out. They didn't care, right? And those are Canaanites. The Jebusites were, a tribe of Canaanites, but they was there like from Joshua, like all the way up until David. So like a couple hundred years, they was there amongst Israel. Like they were just known as the city where one of those cities where the Canaanites was still dwelling in. And it says, for the Canaanites thought they were safe, but David captured the fortress of Zion, which is now called the city of David. So Zion and Jerusalem and the city of David, they're all interchangeable, right? It says, on the day of the attack, David said to his troops, I hate those lame and blind Jebusites. Whosoever attacks them should strike by going into the city through the water tunnel. That's the origin of the saying, the blind and the lame may not enter into the house. Okay, it says, so David made the fortress his home, because it really was a fortress. Talking about the city of Jerusalem, like it was
Mm-hmm.
smaller. It was smaller at that time than it was, like obviously David expanded it. Then Solomon expanded it, and other kings, they made renovations and different things, extended the walls and stuff. But at the time, it was a sizable city, fortress that was fortified, I should say. And it says, and he called it the city of David. It says he extended the city, starting at the supporting terraces and working inward. So yeah, he extended the city, right? So he built it up. So now when you go back here, okay, what was I at? Because David brought the Ark of the Covenant in. David brought the Ark of the Covenant in to Jerusalem, but he just didn't build the temple. Let me
Right.
see. I'm gonna just do a quick sir. When
Yeah,
did
because he danced over recovering the ark.
right brings of the Ark to Jerusalem? What chapter was that in? Uh oh, the next chapter. Okay, chapter 6. Okay. Let's pull it up real quick. Okay. Okay, so he keeps conquering Philistines, and then the next chapter in chapter 6. Okay. Here we go. He brought the Ark of the Covenant back. Okay, let's go back to the KJV. Okay. It says 2 Samuel 6 and 2, and David arose and went with all the people that were with him from Baal of Judah to bring up from thence the ark of the Most High, okay, whose name is called the name of Yahweh of hosts that dwelleth between the cherubims. Okay. Boom. So basically, let me see. The ark is brought to Jerusalem. Okay. Um, okay, right. They had the dancing, and like you said, okay. And so yeah, so this was the chapter where the ark was brought. And so basically at that point, that was when in verse where was it? In verse 43, where she said, I thy servant have been barren and had no child, though I had a husband 30 years. The husband was basically the spirit of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because when Israel entered into that city, all right, and the Ark of the Covenant entered in, the spirit of the Lord was there. Okay. But she but it says and had no child, okay, meaning because the child represents the temple being built up. Okay. So during that period of basically David bringing in, you know, especially bringing in the Ark of the Covenant, that really like solidified that that was going to be the dwelling place of the Spirit of the Lord. Okay, and then saying that it was barren. Okay, meaning yeah, like the Ark of the Covenant, the Spirit of the Lord was there, but these were the days before the temple was being built, before the temple, you know, started getting built. So it says, and in those 30 years I did nothing else day and night and every hour but make my prayer to the highest, right? Again, this is we're looking at understanding that this woman is talking about is the Zion, you know, Jerusalem, the city. Okay, it says after 30 years, the Most High heard me, thine handmaid, and looked upon my misery. Uh, it says, looked upon my misery, considered my trouble, and gave me a son. And I was very glad of him. So was my husband also, and all my neighbors. And we gave great honor to the Almighty. So, again, after 30 years, it's talking about the time period between um, the Ark of the Covenant entering in to Jerusalem, all right, and the temple being built, okay, and you know, technically, it wasn't 30 years exactly on the dot to the day, but it was around 30 years because you know we know David ruled in Jerusalem for 30 years, and then immediately after David's death, Solomon reigned, right, and Solomon started building the temple 4 years into his rule, so it was like you know 30, 35, 36, 37 years, you know what I'm saying. um but when you look at the word, the what 30 represents, we was looking at it earlier, the number 30, what it represents in the scriptures. This is just on Chat GPT, you know, our trusty source, Chat GPT, right? It says uh in the Bible, the number 30 usually represents maturity, readiness, dedication to service. Okay. When you look at it here, okay, priests began, it says represents the age of maturity or readiness for service. Okay. 30 is often the age when somebody begins official responsibility. So basically it was a point in time that you know, it said 30, but it was talking about you know, a complete amount of time, all right, appointed by the Most High, you know. Of course, 7 years, 40 years, you know, those have their own symbolic meanings, all right. But when you look here, gives some examples of, you know, 30 years in the scriptures, right? Priests beginning the temple service at age 30, David becoming king at age 30, Joseph entering into Pharaoh's service at age 30, Ezekiel beginning his prophetic ministry at age 30, and then of course Yahweh Shai was around 30 years old when he began his ministry publicly as well. So it says 30 marks the beginning of mature calling or divinely appointed work, because nobody can deny that the building of the temple was purposely delayed, all right, because David wanted to build the temple. He wanted to build a temple unto the Lord, but it was purposely delayed because David had a lot of blood on his hands. Okay. And matter of fact, let me see if I can find that reference there. Um, See if I can find that reference. Okay. Why? Oh, because I'm not spelling blood right. That's why. Esau boy. Uh, there we go. Let me see. Let's see here.
He said BLUD.
Right. Yeah, you got it. No, I missed the L. That's why. Uh, it's all good. Let's see. Hold on. I think it was hands. Let me see this here. Hands with an S. Let's see here. Or it could even be bloody. But hold on, let me just look it up. Google been on point today. Um, David's hands were too bloody to build temple. It's in Chronicles, but okay, 7. Okay. I feel like I probably should have just looked. First Samuel 7. Why? Wait, what was it? Samuel 7 and 1 through 11. Okay. Let's see here. First Samuel 7. First Samuel. Hold on, that don't even make sense. Or what did it say? Second Samuel? It's Second Samuel. My bad. I'm looking at First Samuel. So like Second Samuel 7. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Second Samuel 7 and 1. And it came to pass when the king sat in his house, and the Lord Yahweh had given him rest round about from all his enemies. The king said unto Nathan the prophet, See now, I dwell in an house of cedar, but the ark of the Most High dwelleth in curtains. Right? And okay. And we'll go down here. Okay. All right. All right. This is 2 Samuel 7 and 8. It says, Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep to be ruler over my people, over Israel, and I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. It says, Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, and that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as before time. Let's see here. Why isn't it showing the spot where it says, okay, well, let me just read it here. Continue reading it here. It says, hold on, let me see. I'll read verse 11. And since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies, also the Lord Yahweh telleth thee that he will make thee an house. So yeah, the house was already predestined, like the temple, I should say, was already destined to be built, but it wasn't for David to build, it was for Solomon to build. So that time period between now, this time here, and when Solomon built the temple, that was that 30 years. Okay. I was looking specifically where it said that his hands, I guess it's in Chronicles, First Chronicles 23, 28 and 3. It says his hands were bloody, 28 and 3, just for edification. Yeah, here we go. Right. First Chronicles 28 and 3, it says, But the Most High said unto me, Thou shalt not build an house for my name, because thou hast been a man of war and hast shed blood. Right. And so that's the reason why the temple was not allowed to be built during that time. And that lets you know, again, in hindsight, it was divinely appointed for the temple to be built during Solomon's reign, with Solomon being, uh, you know, the spirit of Adam, right? And then ultimately Yahushai, the only begotten son. It all made sense. All right, so we're gonna finish out verses 46 and 47 with that understanding now. It says in verse 46, and I nourished him with great travail, talking about the temple, because going to our trusty timeline, okay, Solomon, okay, on the left, and this in the red on the left, okay, he built the temple, right? And we know he ruled 40 years. In the fourth year, he started building the temple and he completed it in the 11th year of his reign. Okay. So from like around this time, 960, all the way up until the temple being destroyed in 587. All right. That's over 300 years that the temple was up, you know what I'm saying? And during that time period, okay, I'll go back here. All right, it was nourished, right? Talking about the sun, that sun representing the temple. All right, it was flourishing, okay. Everything was, everything was good, right? It says, so when he grew up, verse 47, and came to the time that he should have a wife, I made a feast. Now, again, this this parable is going to continue in chapter 10. All right. But we're gonna continue it, in the next lesson. Um, so let me double check the comment board. And did you have any points, Aquan, that you wanted to make?
Nah, we good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we made the point.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it'll expound more when we go into chapter 10. All right. But that was the end of chapter 9. All right. The second half of chapter 9. So Lord willing, Abaratazar, this was edifying. With that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and those of great millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.